Have you ever felt that little shiver? You know, when you're just thinking about buying something and then suddenly, bam, there's an ad for it.
Oh, absolutely. Or you chat about a holiday.
Right. And then your feed is just full of flights to like that exact place.
Yeah. It really does feel like our devices are, well, more than just listening. Maybe mind reading.
Exactly. And you know what? That feeling, it's not entirely wrong.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are really plunging into the often hidden world of digital privacy. Our mission, basically, is to unpack what digital privacy really means today. We'll trace how it evolved because, wow, has it changed? We'll look at who's collecting our data, why it's so valuable now, and maybe most importantly, what you can actually do about it. And this whole deep dive, it's based entirely on this fantastic set of sources you've provided. Gives us a great roadmap.
It really is a critical conversation to have because understanding your digital footprint, it's not just for, tech geeks anymore.
It's fundamental to understanding your own agency, your choices in a world where, well, online and real life are just completely merged. And what's really striking looking at these sources is just how fast we went from things being relatively private to, well, this, where data collection is just the default.
Okay, let's start there then. When we say digital privacy, what are we actually talking about? At its core, it sounds simple, maybe, but I get the feeling it's way more complicated underneath.
Oh, it is. Fundamentally, you could say it's your right. Your right to control your personal data, your online actions. It's about owning your digital self, really.
Owning your digital self. I like that.
And when we look at what data is collected, wow, the sources show it's so much more than just like name and email. They call it your digital DNA.
Your digital DNA.
That's,
that paints a picture.
Yeah.
So give us a sense of the scale. What kind of things make up this footprint? Some surprising examples.
It's honestly kind of staggering. We're talking precise location data, right? Not just GPS, but photos you tag, even Wi-Fi signals you connect to. Then there's all the behavioral stuff, your search history, obviously, but every click, how fast you scroll.
How fast you scroll.
Yes, and biometric data too. Fingerprints, facial scans, voice patterns from assistants, even just, what phone model you have, your OS, battery life.
Battery life, why?
Well, it can indicate usage patterns, maybe even socioeconomic status sometimes. And then there's metadata. This is a big one.
Right, metadata. So not what you said in the message, but...
Exactly. But when you sent it, where you sent it from, who you sent it to, all the context around the data.
And the sources point out just how incredibly detailed this gets. Like you said, even how long you pause on a video. That's a data point.
Precisely. It captures attention, intent. It's all valuable.
It's mind-boggling. So with all this digital DNA floating around, who's actually collecting it? And I guess why? What's the main motivation?
Well, the obvious ones are the big tech companies, right? Google, Meta, so Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Amazon, Apple. Their main game is targeted advertising, mostly. And they often work with third-party data brokers to make those profiles even richer.
Data brokers. So companies whose whole business is just buying and selling our data.
Pretty much, yeah. Then you've got all the apps and platforms, especially the free ones. How do they make money? Often it's by selling your data. And we've seen some really concerning examples highlighted in the sources. Fitness apps, meditation apps, even period trackers.
Oh, wow. Sharing health data.
Sharing really sensitive health data, yeah. It's happened. And then, of course, governments are huge collectors, too.
Right. For national security, crime fighting.
Yeah.
That's the official reason.
That's the official line, yeah. But the sources also talk about how it can stretch into social control, political surveillance, and crucially, governments often have these partnerships, right? Public-private partnerships. They get access to data the companies collect.
So it's not just authoritarian regimes doing this?
No, not at all. Democratic countries collect massive amounts of data, too. And then you always have hackers, criminals, looking for leaked data for identity theft, fraud, phishing. That's a constant threat.
Okay, that is a lot of players collecting a lot of data. So for you listening, what does this actually mean? How is all this data actually used?
Well, number one is advertising. That creepy feeling when an ad follows you around. That's personalized ads using your browsing, your searches.
Like in sneaker ads after looking at reading blogs. Got it.
Exactly. But it goes deeper. Companies build these really detailed psychological profiles. They're trying to predict your preferences, influence what you buy, maybe even your political views.
Influence political views. That's significant.
It is. And then there's the government surveillance side. Officially, it's about security threats, but the sources show it can sometimes be used to monitor activists, journalists, certain groups. And don't forget algorithmic decisions. Your data can influence the news you see, whether you get a loan, even dynamic pricing.
Dynamic pricing? So I might pay more for the same flight ticket than someone else.
Potentially, yes. Based on your perceived willingness or ability to pay, derived from your data profile.
Wow. Okay. This brings up a huge point. Consent. Did we really agree to all this when we clicked, I agree?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The sources are pretty clear. Consent is usually buried in these super long, dense terms and conditions nobody reads.
Guilty.
Right. Everyone is. Opting in is almost always frictionless, one click. But opting out, that's often designed to be really hard confusing.
Amaze. Yeah.
Exactly. And even if you try to opt out, platforms like Meta, for example, still track you off-site through those little pixels and plugins everywhere on the web.
So even if I'm careful on Facebook itself, they're still tracking me elsewhere.
Often, yes. The reality is most of us have basically no idea the full extent of what we've agreed to.
It reminds me of that house analogy we talked about.
Yeah.
Your digital life is like your home, right? Emails, chats, searches, photos, all in different rooms. Installing an app is like giving someone a key. But without digital privacy, it's like all the doors and windows are just open. Anyone can wander in.
That's a really good way to put it.
True privacy means you decide who gets a key, what they see, and crucially, when they have to leave. It's about having that control.
Exactly. And this is why it matters so much to you. Digital data, the sources stress this, it's permanent, and it's easily shared. Once it's out, good luck getting it back. So a lack of privacy isn't just about your info being exposed. It makes you vulnerable to manipulation, to surveillance, to exploitation.
It's not about having nothing to hide then.
Not at all. It's about control. Control over your story, your digital self, your autonomy, really.
Okay, that sets the scene really well.
Yeah.
Let's take that historical journey you mentioned. It helps understand just how fast things change. From, like you said, private by default to...
And transparent by design, yeah. So let's rewind. Pre-digital era, before the 90s. Privacy was physical, mostly. Face-to-face talks, landlines.
filing cabinets.
Exactly. Data collection was slow, manual, localized. Surveillance needed real effort, resources. Privacy was kind of the default state.
Reading someone's mail was a big deal. Wiretapping needed warrants, hardware.
Right. A completely different world.
Then came the early internet. 90s, early 2000s. The age of digital innocence, some call it.
Kind of, yeah. Lots of excitement, free sharing, personal blogs, chat rooms, MySpace. People just put stuff out there.
Data collection was basic back then. Usernames, emails.
Pretty basic. IP addresses, few rules, not much security thinking. Cookies started appearing then.
Those little trackers.
Yeah, but most people didn't really get what they did. And we saw early problems, right? Passwords stored in plain text, no HTTPS, viruses like I love you.
Yeah.
It showed the vulnerabilities.
The game changed. Big tech. The 2010s.
Massive shift. Google, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, they built these huge ecosystems. You lived inside them.
And smartphones became, well, tracking devices in our pockets.
Constant tracking devices. Locations, searches, conversations near the mic, how long you look at the screen. And apps started demanding tons of permissions.
Right. Why does my flashlight app need my contacts?
Exactly. And social media made oversharing normal. Check-ins, photo tags. It felt required.
And that's when data became the new oil.
That's when it really took hold. Tech companies realized the real value wasn't just the service. It was the data about you, using machine learning to predict behavior. That became the business model.
Which brings us to today, the 2020s.
Yep. Now we have advanced AI, pervasive surveillance tech, predictive algorithms, voice assistants like Alexa and Siri always potentially listening,
Smart TVs, video doorbells.
recording conversations, tracking movement, and so much passive collection. Smart fridges tracking openings, wearables tracking heart rate 24/7, facial recognition in public spaces.
It's everywhere.
But crucially, public awareness started shifting too. Scandals like Cambridge Analytica, the Snowden leaks, they made people stop and think.
People started asking, wait, what did I agree to? What am I giving up for this convenience? Who owns my data?
Exactly. And that led to pushback. Privacy tools like Signal, Brave Browser became more popular. Laws like GDPR in Europe, CCPA in California started appearing.
So the takeaway here is we went from needing physical effort to spy on someone.
To a world where your entire behavioral profile, your digital essence, is basically captured, processed, bought, sold, and used to influence you, often invisibly in real time. That's the journey.
That transition leads perfectly into this concept, Surveillance capitalism. It's a term from Shoshana Zuboff. Can you unpack that for us? It sounds intense.
It is a powerful term. Zuboff calls it a new economic order that claims human experience as free raw material for hidden commercial practices of extraction, prediction, and sales.
Free raw material, meaning our lives online.
Pretty much. Your clicks, your searches, your likes, your location, your emotions expressed online. It's all raw material. Companies extract it, often without you really noticing or agreeing in a meaningful way. They turn that raw data into predictions about what you'll do next. And then, this is the core of it, they sell those predictions, mostly to advertisers, but potentially others too. Your future behavior becomes the product.
Okay, walk us through that. Step by step, how does it work in practice?
Okay, so first you interact with tech. Simple stuff. Search Google, scroll Instagram, pause on a YouTube video.
Right.
Second, your behavior is captured. Not just the big actions, but micro behaviors. How long your mouse hovered over an ad, your scroll speed, like we said.
Okay.
Third, that data gets processed. AI algorithms churn through it, looking for patterns, like people who search X tend to buy Y a week later.
Making connections we wouldn't even think of.
Exactly. Fourth, predictions are sold. Advertisers bid in real-time auctions for the chance to show you an ad because the system predicts you're likely to click or buy. It's not random.
So the ads I see are being chosen for me microseconds before they appear.
Pretty much, yeah. And fifth, and this is crucial, your behavior is nudged. The ads, the content, the news feeds, even prices, they're tailored to steer you, to maximize clicks, sales, engagement, whatever the goal is.
Can you give a really clear example? Something people might recognize?
Sure. The baby clothes example is a good one. You search Google for baby clothes. That's an intent signal.
Okay.
Almost immediately, because Google and Facebook, Meta, share data or use tracking across sites, you start seeing ads on Facebook and Instagram for diapers, strollers, parenting advice. Your intent signal was spotted, packaged, and sold to advertisers who want to reach expectant or new parents.
Even if I didn't click anything on Google related to buying, just the search.
Just the search can be enough to trigger it. Your potential interest was flagged and monetized.
So what's being bought and sold? Is it my name and address or?
It's usually not your specific name being sold directly to the advertiser in that moment. It's more like access to people like you. Predictive models. Advertisers buy the ability to target, say, women aged 25-35, interested in eco-friendly products, likely to be planning a vacation. These models are built from all that behavioral data and include psychographics, habits, maybe even predicted mood or stress levels.
Predicted mood? How?
Based on things like typing speed, language used in posts, engagement patterns. It's complex and often opaque, but that's the direction it's heading.
That sounds like it must have a pretty big psychological impact, as my online world is constantly being shaped like that.
Oh, definitely. It's not just tracking you, it's actively shaping your experience. Content gets curated to provoke a reaction, outrage, desire, fear, because that drives engagement.
So it pushes emotional buttons.
Right. And it subtly nudges your choices, what to buy, maybe even who to vote for, what news to believe. It can create addiction loops, think infinite scroll. It fuels behavioral manipulation, impulse buys, political polarization. And ultimately, it erodes your autonomy. You think you're making free choices, but you're doing it within an environment engineered to steer you in certain directions.
That highlights a massive power imbalance, doesn't it? We know so little about how this works.
And they know so much about us, and they profit directly from our behavior, our attention.
Right.
And this isn't just theoretical. The sources point to real concerns. Cambridge Analytica using Facebook data and psych profiles to influence elections. That happened. Insurance companies exploring models, using online activity to maybe adjust premiums, dynamic pricing, where you and I might see different prices for the same thing online.
It's already happening.
Yes. The core issue with surveillance capitalism is it operates largely in the shadows without genuine informed consent. It takes our private experiences and turns them into commodities, a kind of digital gold rush mining us.
Okay, so we have corporations mining us for profit.
Yeah.
And then we have governments, both major players collecting vast amounts of data. Their motives might seem different, but do the lines blur?
They absolutely blur. Let's start with corporations again, their main driver. Profit through prediction, like we said. More data means better ad targeting, better product development, keeping you engaged longer. They track browsing, locations, social media, purchases, even snippets of conversation via smart devices.
But building those profiles.
Exactly. Age, gender, income, lifestyle, politics, mood, sexual orientation. Incredibly detailed. Facebook is a prime example the sources highlight. It tracks you even when you're logged out, even if you don't have an account sometimes.
Oh.
Through tracking pixels, Those like buttons on other websites, embedded tools, they build what's called a shadow profile based on your web activity, linked potentially through shared networks or browser data.
Wow, a shadow profile.
Yeah. And all this data lets them predict and influence decisions, personalize prices, create those filter bubbles that limit what you see.
Okay, now shift to governments. Their angle is surveillance for control, you said.
Officially, yes. National security, anti-terrorism, crime prevention, those are the stated goals. But the sources also point to, let's say, secondary motives. Social control, monitoring dissent, keeping tabs on certain populations.
And the Snowden leaks really blew the lid off that, didn't they?
They really did, 2013. Showed the NSA collecting bulk phone records of millions, monitoring global internet traffic, emails, chats, calls often without specific warrants, without public knowledge. Programs like PRISM tapped directly into data from Google, Facebook, Apple.
With the company's knowledge.
The exact level of cooperation versus compulsion is complex, but yes, the data was flowing. And it's important to distinguish, right? There's mass surveillance, everyone's a potential target, and targeted surveillance focusing on specific threats, ideally with oversight.
But many democracies do both.
The sources suggest many democratic countries engage in both to varying degrees.
And then you have authoritarian regimes taking it much further.
Absolutely. Surveillance becomes a primary tool of suppression. China's social credit system is the most cited example, tracking online and offline behavior.
And giving scores that affect your life. Travel bans, loan denials.
Exactly. Public shaming, too. It's digital authoritarianism, controlling the internet, censoring content, using surveillance tech like facial recognition to monitor everyone, especially activists, journalists, minorities. Iran, Russia, North Korea also use these tactics heavily.
And you mentioned this public-private surveillance alliance. How does that work?
Yeah.
Governments and companies working together.
Yeah, it's a crucial point. They often cooperate. Corporations might provide the tech, the data feeds. Governments might offer legal cover, big contracts, maybe lighter regulation in return.
Like Amazon selling facial recognition to police.
That's a perfect example cited in the sources. It raises huge questions, doesn't it? Who really owns your data in that scenario? Can anyone truly protect it? Where does corporate interest stop and state interest start?
It's a tangled web.
It really is. The key takeaway is your data is a currency for both corporations and governments. And it's often traded back and forth, sometimes at the expense of your privacy, blurring that line between protection and control.
Okay, that's all pretty heavy.
Why?
It's easy to see the potential for things to go wrong. So let's get specific. What are the real, tangible risks when we lose our digital privacy?
Well, the first big one, and maybe the most subtle, is the loss of autonomy. Meaning you're not fully in control of your own thoughts and choices anymore because algorithms are constantly filtering your reality, nudging you, influencing you based on your data profile.
The echo chambers, the filter bubbles.
Exactly. Algorithms optimize for engagement, for clicks, for profit, not necessarily for your empowerment or giving you a balanced view. So you end up living in these bubbles, maybe making decisions, voting, spending based on an environment that's been engineered around you. It's a slow erosion of free choice.
Like the targeted Facebook ads in the 2016 election. Exploiting emotions.
That's a key example the sources raise, using psychographic profiles to trigger specific emotional responses and sway opinions.
Okay, loss of autonomy. What else?
Data breaches. This is a huge, constant threat. When a company gets hacked or leaks data,
Your stuff is out there. Names, addresses, social security number.
passwords, health data, private messages, photos, anything they held. Think Equifax, 147 million people, LinkedIn, Facebook, countless others.
And once it's out forever, right?
Yeah.
Sold on the dark web.
Exactly. It leads to spam, scams, fraud attempts for years. That data just keeps circulating.
Which leads directly to identity theft.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
Criminals use that leaked data, maybe combining pieces from different breaches to open accounts in your name, file fake tax returns, commit crimes.
Making your life a nightmare.
Totally. And it's easier now because our identity is scattered across so many places online. The sources had that story, right? A woman whose Facebook data helped hackers guess security questions.
Which let them into her cloud storage. Family photos, financial documents, all leaked.
Yeah. Shows how seemingly small bits of data can be the key to unlocking everything.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Are there other, maybe less obvious risks?
Yes. Digital discrimination. This is a big one, where your digital behavior is used against you, often unfairly, and you might not even know it.
How does that happen?
Okay, in finance, maybe banks use data models that look at your browsing, your location, even your phone's battery life, and it subtly affects your credit score.
Seriously. Based on my phone.
It's being explored. In healthcare, insurers might flag you as high risk based on searches about certain health conditions, potentially affecting premiums or coverage.
Wow.
In employment, recruiters screen social media, obviously, but AI tools might filter applicants based on language patterns or online interests that correlate with certain demographics, introducing bias.
Without you even knowing why you didn't get the interview.
Precisely. And in law enforcement, predictive policing tools can use biased historical data to target certain neighborhoods or groups, reinforcing existing inequalities. The core problem here is the lack of transparency. These algorithms make decisions about you, but you often have no idea what data was used or why the decision was made. You don't know you're being discriminated against.
So it's not just about data theft. It's about how the data that is collected is used to potentially limit your opportunities or treat you unfairly.
Exactly. Loss of digital privacy isn't just about information. It threatens your freedom, fairness, your identity. These risks are real, they're happening now, and they can have truly devastating impacts, financial, emotional, and social.
Okay. Deep breaths. After hearing all that, it would be easy to just throw up our hands and say, well, what can I possibly do? But we want to end on an empowering note. Let's talk practical steps. Digital hygiene.
Yes, it's not hopeless. Think of it like building your personal privacy toolkit. First up, a VPN, virtual private network.
Right. Hide your IP address, encrypts traffic.
Yeah, but the key benefit here is it makes it much harder for ISPs, hackers on public Wi-Fi, and advertisers to track your every move online. It raises the barrier significantly. It doesn't make you invisible, but it's a really strong first step.
Good for public Wi-Fi especially.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next in the toolkit?
Encrypted messaging apps. Signal is consistently recommended in the sources. Open source, strong end-to-end encryption, or E2E.
E2E meaning only the sender and receiver can read it.
Exactly. Not even the company running the service. Telegram has secret chats for E2E. WhatsApp uses it too, but, it's owned by Meta, which raises concerns for some.
So Signal's often the top choice for privacy advocates.
Generally, yes. Using E2E is crucial for any sensitive conversations.
Okay. VPNs, encrypted messaging. What about browsing the web?
Privacy-focused browsers. Brave is a great option, blocks ads and trackers by default. Firefox is another strong choice, open source, lots of customization with privacy extensions.
Extensions like
uBlock Origin is essential for blocking ads. Privacy Badger blocks invisible trackers. HTTPS everywhere forces secure connections. These make a big difference. For really high anonymity needs, there's Tor browser, but it's slower.
Got it. So tools are one part. What about habits? Things we can change in our daily behavior.
Big one. Location tracking. Go into your phone settings now and turn off location access for apps that don't absolutely need it. Why does that game need your precise location 24/7?
Good point. Use while using the app or ask next time.
Exactly. Be intentional about it. Don't just grant always allow.
Okay. Location off for non-essentials. What else?
Review app permissions regularly. Make it like a monthly checkup. Does that photo editing app really need microphone access? Does that utility app need your contacts? Revoke anything unnecessary.
Be an active manager of permissions.
Yes. Another critical habit, strong, unique passwords. I know, everyone says it.
But people still use password 123.
Unbelievably, yes. Different password for every single site. Use a mix of upper, lower numbers, symbols. Don't use personal info. And please use a password manager.
Like Bitwarden, 1Password, LastPass. They generate and store them securely.
Exactly. It takes the burden off you trying to remember 50 complex passwords. It's essential hygiene.
Okay, final habit.
Avoid oversharing online. Seems obvious, but think before you post. Your exact birthday. Real-time vacation updates. Hey thieves, my house is empty. Those fun quizzes that ask for your mother's maiden name or first pet.
They're just data harvesting schemes, often.
Very often. Remember that house analogy? Every little piece of data you share can be collected, combined, used to profile you, manipulate you, or exploit you later. Be mindful. So, the kind of final thought on this section, the mantra maybe. Think before you click. Always ask, is this service, this app, this share worth my data? What am I really getting in return? Would I tell this to a stranger on the street?
That's a good test.
Digital hygiene isn't about disappearing. It's about awareness plus action. Being smart, being intentional, taking back some control.
So we've covered a lot of ground. From defining digital privacy, tracing its really rapid evolution, looking at surveillance capitalism, the roles of corporations and governments, the risks, and now finally, some practical steps you can take. Our hope, really, is that understanding all this helps you feel more informed and maybe a bit more empowered to navigate this digital world.
And looking ahead, as tech gets even more integrated into our lives, think AI, metaverse, biointegration, maybe this huge question remains. How do we collectively draw the line? Where does convenient innovation stop and the violation of our fundamental right to digital autonomy begin? What's it going to take for us to truly have control over our digital selves? That's the ongoing challenge.
Something to really think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope you'll take these insights, maybe start putting some of that digital hygiene into practice, and just stay curious about where this is all heading.